Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Hard Count. I'm Michael Emami, and I recently had an awesome interview with Mary Institute and St. Louis Country Day School's linebacker Jack Niedringhaus. Jack is a member of the 2022 class and currently stands at 6 foot 0 inches and 185 pounds. Jack is a terrific kid and also a multi-sport athlete, playing baseball as well for his high school. His brother is also on a scholarship for lacrosse, so athletic genes certainly run in the family, and we talk a little bit about that and more on this episode. And the other thing, folks, is that MICDS is 3-0 on the year with wins against Park Hill Central and Westminster, and opening the season, as we had talked about before, with SLU. Picked up a big win most recently against Westminster, and Jack and I kind of talked about the upcoming game he had against Park Hill Central, which they MICDS won 59-52 in a thriller. We kind of talked about his preparation going into that game, so that game obviously already happened. But we talked about the team's preparation, his preparation involving that game, and him getting ready for it on this episode as well. I think you guys are going to love it. It's going to be really interesting to hear. And Jack obviously was a terrific interview and was wonderful to talk to on this episode. So hope you guys enjoy this one. Thanks so much for doing this, by the way.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is going to be fun.
All right, here we go. So just kind of quick thing here. So I understand you guys are kind of just getting things kicked off with your season. Obviously, a lot of high expectations. So how does it feel to come out there on your opening kind of game and then just dominate the way you guys did?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I think our group of guys knows that we've got a lot of talent, and we know we've been working towards one goal. I think that our coaching staff gave us a pretty good look at SLU during the week where we prepped for them. So I think we understood what we needed to do assignment-wise for them. And then I think going down 21-0 in the first quarter obviously was a pretty big hit, especially on my side of the ball on defense. But our defense coordinators really helped us with making in-game adjustments and then figuring out what was working well for us and what didn't, and then making those adjustments from there. We knew SLU going in was going to have a ton of talent. And so I think we definitely tried to respect that. When it comes down to it, like when the game goes on, like all of us, I think our offense really started to put it together starting in the second quarter. So that gave our defense some hope. And from there, we pretty much were bouncing it back from each side of the ball, just trying to help each other out. I think that was our biggest thing in trying to get that win.
Yeah, good cohesiveness there. And I think that's kind of something that I've heard a lot of athletes that I've interviewed with MICDS where they've talked about Coach Bouchard and his kind of philosophy with the game. And the other thing they wanted to bring up, you have an older brother, right? Thomas Niedringhaus, that's currently on scholarship to Boston University. And, because I can tell that athletes kind of run into your family. You definitely have a lot of good athletic genes. So tell me a little bit about how you were brought up with your parents and kind of your schedule in terms of your athletic career.
Yeah, so pretty much my whole life, my main sport has been baseball. Played basketball up until my junior year, and I played football through middle school and my freshman year. And I think that my family, my mom and my dad and my brother especially, were pretty big supporters in just whatever I wanted to do. These past few years, I've been working pretty hard for baseball, and my baseball coach here at MICDS actually was pretty supportive because Coach Bouchard was really trying to get me on the team after my junior year, this year as a senior. And so I was obviously interested. I had talked to my baseball coach, and he thought that football would be able to help with just some stuff with baseball, and that the sports work well together, and that it could make me a bit better baseball player. And so I talked to Coach Bouchard again, and he was thrilled to have me. So he had open arms. Him and the coaching staff has been great ever since I joined the team. But I think that the biggest thing for my family has just been supporting whatever I do. They were glad to hear I wanted to come back for my senior year to play football. And since that, they've been all for it. And my brother, obviously, he played and graduated in 2019, and he was a captain his senior year. So he's been really good at giving me advice because he played a little bit of outside linebacker himself. So, they've been great in supporting me.
Clearly, you guys have the fuel and the expectations now from your strong week one performance to make that run again. So what are you guys kind of doing to get mentally prepared just for that big stage?
Yeah. I mean, I think right now, now that it's back to a normal season, bouncing back from COVID, I think our biggest thing is knowing we've got a long season ahead of us. So this Friday, we're going to Park Hills Central, and from what we've seen, they're a pretty solid team. And so that's pretty much our main focus right now. We've got a word of the week every week, and ours this week is keep climbing. So um, right now, our focus is pretty much on what we have right in front of us. Obviously, we keep that in the back of our mind every day, what our common goal is to try and get back to that state championship and win it this year. But currently, we've still got some tough opponents in the regular season. And so we're really looking forward to what we can accomplish in the regular season. Then once we're done with that, that's when we're really going to start focusing in on those teams who are looking pretty good so far.
Okay, sounds fantastic. And so, you talked about you're quite the baseball player. You've been playing for a long time. In football, you kind of picked that up. You had the heart back in it, and all your friends were playing, and you turned out to be a pretty darn good player there, too. So, my question to you is if a college program is going to take you, they're going to pick you up for, your athleticism and stuff like that. What's kind of the first thing you'd want them to know about you as an athlete?
I think biggest thing there is just letting them know I'm a hard worker. Whatever I'm going to put my mind to, I'm going to do it at 110%. I'm going to put my focus on it and go full head of steam. So whatever it is that I want to do, I'm going to do whatever I can to be the most successful person I can be there. And also I like to think I'm a pretty good teammate. Obviously going into football this year, there's a ton of great returning talent and leadership there. A lot of those guys have been my friends for a long time being at MICDS, but just trying to find my way into how I can help. Overall, I'm a pretty hard worker, and I feel like I can do whatever I can to try and make a team gel together as best as possible.
Okay, yeah, and I heard it was quite the atmosphere that game against SLU. It was pretty crazy, especially,
Yeah.
you know, they were talking about this at Mizzou related, where Connor Bazelak's going to be starting, and Eli Drinkowitz was doing an interview, and they talked about how post-COVID now, they're going to have a packed house at Faurot Field, and the atmosphere is going to change. You mentioned that this was kind of your first year since freshman year playing football. I understand that you had been involved with other sports as well outside of that. But just kind of tell me, when you have a packed house there and you're playing outside linebacker and you got the team and everybody energized on the road, how does that feel to kind of be back in this, I would say, pre-COVID environment with everybody watching you?
Yeah, it was definitely a crazy experience. When we were down SLU, their student section, all of their fans, they really brought it. And I think that our MICDS fans had a great turnout as well, which made that crazy atmosphere within our game. But I think that once I step on the field, I try and just block that stuff out. It can be tough at times. Like sometimes our coach was making the calls and I couldn't exactly hear him or couldn't hear what the middle linebacker was relaying to us. So at times that was a little tough. But I think that's what makes it so fun and so special is having those packed crowds back and being able to play in front of them. And I mean, playing SLU Friday night with that attendance, it was an experience that I've never had before. So I loved every second of it.
Well, hopefully you get used to that experience because it appears that you guys are going to be having that quite a bit this season with all the restrictions kind of going down, which in my opinion is a very good thing
Yeah.
because I think we all need to get back to normal after just this horrid last year and a half where a lot of that stuff was taken away. So just fantastic to see everybody playing in front of a full house. And just kind of awesome to hear all the stories of the high school athletes around the country that are now really getting to experience what a real football game on Friday nights feels like. So, kind of getting into something interesting here about you, what's kind of a thing that maybe not a lot of people know about you that you would want to share?
This is my 14th year at MICDS, so I've been here since the beginning, and so I think that that's helped me really build friendships with a lot of my teammates because I've been there from the start and I've been able to see everyone come along. And like you mentioned, Jack Hayes was on View recently, and so he was there from the start with me too. So I've been lifelong friends with him. And then I think that Bjorn Sjogren was also he had been on and he's been there since the beginning. So it's pretty cool coming back my senior year and being able to play with some of those guys and the guys who've come along since, and being able to see what we can accomplish.
The last kind of question that I'm going to ask you here, and take a second to really kind of think about this. You ready?
Yep.
All right. This is going to have future implications like you wouldn't believe.
Okay.
And you gotta really think about this. I'm nervous for you. This is going to be the hardest one that I'm going to ask. But,
all right, let's hear it.
All right, here we go. If you were to get drafted by an NFL team, what would be your preferred team that you would want to get drafted by?
I've got to go with the Cleveland Browns.
Oh my goodness, there's two of you on here now.
Yeah.
Wow. Why Cleveland?
So obviously, when the Rams left, I was in 6th grade, and I was pretty heartbroken at that point. So I was pretty lost for about a year on what fan base I was going to join. But some of my friends had started to like Cleveland, and at that point, that was their 0-16 season when I started becoming a fan for them. So it wasn't an easy start, but we've always talked about how things are starting to line up right, and every season we've continually started to just get a little bit better. And so I don't know. They've been my team for a while since the Rams left, so I think I feel closest to them right now, and I think I'd have to go with them.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and I told this to Jack Hayes as well, and I think there's probably more than two of you on here. Those are just the two that I can remember in my recent memory. But if you are willing to wait out an 0-16 season and you are watching the team and rooting for them when they go 0-16, I think it's fair enough to say, and I told this to Jack Hayes as well, you have been initiated into that fan base. Because as bad as my team has been, I'm a big Washington football fan, as bad as my team has been, and we're kind of moving up a little bit, but I have always been there, and I've been a fan of that team for my entire life. And you really know the fans of the teams when they're still sitting there, and you know that you've got nothing better than 3-13 or 4-12, and you're still sitting there with a jersey rooting for them. So I will give you all the credit in the world for that.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I've been there through the thick and thin, so I'm glad we're starting to look good.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm excited for you guys this year. It should be a lot of fun. It's a shame about what happened in the playoffs last year, getting run over by the Chiefs and Chad Henne, but, what are you going to do? All right, well, awesome. Thanks so much for coming on, Jack. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
All right, everybody, that was Jack Niedringhaus out of MICDS. If you'd like to contact Jack, his Twitter account is @JNiedringhaus2, and that's spelled @JNIEDRINGHAUS and the number 2. I'll be sure to post his Hudl link and information below as well. Just an incredible story with him coming back to football. And obviously the multi-sport athlete aspect of it was incredible to hear about as well. If you'd like to contact me, my Twitter account is @EmamiMichael. Both my Facebook and Instagram are @TheHardCount with Michael Emami. YouTube channel is The Hard Count with Michael Emami. It'd mean a lot if you subscribed and then hit the bell at the top right-hand corner, so that way you would never miss a video. Love the views coming in as well. And then the other thing is Snapchat is Michael Emami. Appreciate all the ads and subscriptions on there too. Hopefully to have big platforms on all social media aspects, or all social media platforms, so that should be great. All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode. This has been The Hard Count. Do you have what it takes to go to one?